Namaste, this is Prashant Upadhyay, your strategy consultant and Jyotish Vidya Vachaspati, beginning with the life coaching series in yet another video. In this video, I'm going to cover a very interesting topic, which is going to shatter the myth surrounding certain dogmas in astrology. So today we are going to cover something called as Chandrashtama. Many of you who are students of astrology or even those who are interested in astrology would have heard this term called Chandrashtama. Now this is basically a time to reflect and not anything to be scared of. So we'll see how it is. We are going to cover in this video a few basics before we begin to try to understand what is Chandrashtama. Beginning with the tripod of a horoscope, then we'll cover the importance of moon, and then we'll go on and try to understand as to what is Chandrashtama, what can specifically go wrong during Chandrashtama, and what can we do about it, how to make it right. So let's begin with what is the tripod of a horoscope. This is a very basic thing. If you have your horoscope with you, you can have a look at it directly, or you can look at the sample horoscope shown on the screen. What I've used is Kal Purush Kundli, which can also be called as a blank chart. It's a standard chart in the South Indian format, where all the houses or the rashis are fixed, beginning with Aries, where I pointed it as the lagna or the ascendant in this case as an example. So in this horoscope, let us say your lagna or ascendant is Aries or Mesha, your moon or Chandra is placed in its own sign Cancer or Karka, and your sun or Surya is placed in its own sign Simha or Leo. Now this is a sample horoscope where I have indicated a certain ascendant and the placement of sun and moon in certain signs. Now when we look at these three things, these are the basic tripods of a horoscope. And what do I mean by a tripod? That is, these are the basic foundations of your horoscope. And how do we arrive at these things? The sun indicates your Surya Lagna. It can also be treated as another ascendant. So it basically indicates the month in which you were born. The moon can be considered as another ascendant or called as Chandra Lagna. It indicates the particular day of the month when you were born. And the ascendant per se is arrived at based on your specific time of birth, the time of the day of the particular month when you were born. So these three constitute the three tripods of a horoscope. And what do they basically indicate? The lagna or the ascendant indicates the physical reality of your life. The Surya or sun indicates the experience of your soul, or what we can call as Atmanubhava. And your Chandra or moon indicates the experience of your mind. That is what you actually feel, think, because these three things combined together make up the personality that you are. But considering the yuga that we are living in, that is Kali Yuga, moon is given too much of importance, because your mind is everything for you. It is your mind through which you perceive your reality, as well as try to understand your soul or the experiences of the soul. So apart from your lagna or the ascendant, your Chandra Lagna is given equal importance as far as modern astrology is concerned. So as we discussed, the Lagna, the sun and the moon, that these three things, the Surya, Chandra and ascendant, they are the tripods of your horoscope. Their strength actually determines how strong is your horoscope and how would be the overall direction of your life. in this context, let us see what is the importance of the moon or Chandra. Here, what I am trying to cover is the very basic thing related to moon. As you may be aware that the moon waxes and wanes. It moves in a cyclical fashion. So you need to check your janma tithi, because right from Pratipada, Dvitiya, Tritiya through Purnima or Amavasya, your tithi can give you a specific indication or a specific direction about your life. Likewise, the moon stays in each rashi for 2.3 days approximately. In other ways, we can say that it covers the 4 padas of a nakshatra each day. That is, it stays in a nakshatra roughly for a day, a full day, that is 24 hours. And we can also say that it takes 27.5 days approximately to cover the entire zodiac, that is the 360 degrees of the zodiac from Aries till Pisces. And your daily forecasts are basically based on the rashi and Chandra occupied, rashi and nakshatra occupied by Chandra. And just as the moon is related to the tides, it's been scientifically proven, right, that high tides and low tides are caused by the distance of the moon from the earth. It's the transit of the moon in specific rashis and nakshatras do affect your mind directly. And the moon's position is very critical for muhurta, for varshafala, for prashna kundi, etc. So moon is very, very important as far as this particular yuga is concerned. Before we try and go ahead with what is the meaning of Chandrashtama, we need to have a look at the significations of moon or Chandra. What does it signify as per our classic Vedic astrology literature? All those significations are displayed on the screen. You can roughly classify it into general or generic significations, positive and negative significations, depending on the position, disposition and strength of the moon in your horoscope. These different results can be ascribed to it. So the generic significations of moon are: it represents your mind, feelings, moods, fancies, emotions, desires, imagination, memory, intelligence, vision, mother, queen, public opinion, muhurta or a duration of 48 minutes, growth, childhood, woman, agriculture, common sense, milk, liquids, water, rivers, oceans, seamen, watery places, fishermen, traveling agents, journeys, restaurants, bathing places, popular resorts, bathrooms, nurseries, liquids, pearls, salt, it's strong at night, eating, etc. All of these are generic significators of the moon. On the positive side, moon represents laughter, popularity, manners, sensitivity, tenderness, politeness, motherly love, protection, nourishment, perfumes, sleep, happiness, facial luster, good fruits, fish, aquatic beings, clothes, worship of the goddess Gauri, fondness to curd, one who does tapas or penance, elderly women, female leaders, feminine tendencies, your home, comforts, beauty, face, attraction, consciousness, softness, charming eyes, passion, image, charm, romance, pleasures, celebrations, amusement, singing, fertility, vegetations, herbs, grains, adaptability, flexibility, juicy fruits, sweetmeats, etc. And on the negative side, moon represents unsteadiness, fickle-mindedness, lack of mental balance, poor abilities, delays, obstacles, moodiness, pessimism, extravagance, melancholy, hidden ulcerous troubles in the stomach, insomnia, lust, malarial fever, etc. Hope you have been able to digest the significations of the moon. Now we can proceed ahead to understand what is Chandrashtama. What you can see on the screen is the standard Kal Purusha Kundli or the blank chart in the South Indian format. Continuing with the same example, I've taken Aries as the Lagna or ascendant. The moon is placed in Cancer or Karka, and the sun is placed in Leo or Simha. Now, the Sanskrit term Chandrashtama means 8th from moon or moon in the 8th. It can mean both. So if you look at the ascendant, in this case it's Aries. So if you count 8 signs from Aries, you arrive at Scorpio. So that would be the Ashtama from your Lagna or the birth ascendant. Likewise, if you count 8 signs from the Sun, which is in Leo, you would arrive at Pisces. That would be the 8th from your Sun. Now if you count 8 houses from where the Moon is, that is in Cancer or Karka, you will arrive at Kumbha or Aquarius. Now traditionally Chandrashtama is purely considered from natal moon. So in this case, suppose your birth sign, your janma rashi, is in Karka or Kataka, where your natal moon is placed. You have to count 8 houses or signs from there, and in this case the sign arrived thus is Aquarius. So that would be your Chandrashtama typically. So every month, as discussed earlier, moon takes 27.5 days to cover the entire zodiac. So the moon would cover each rashi every month, and whenever it reaches the 8th rashi from your janma rashi, that would be your Chandrashtama. So in this particular horoscope example, since the birth or janma rashi is Karka, the Chandrashtama would be Kumbha. So each month, whenever moon transits Aquarius or Kumbha rashi, that would be the Chandrashtama for this particular native. That's how the Chandrashtama has to be reckoned. So there's a ready reckoner table given on the screen right now. So depending on your janma rashi, you can arrive at the Chandrashtama very easily by looking at the table. For example, if your janma rashi is Aries or Mesha, your Chandrashtama would be in Scorpio or Vrishchik. If janma rashi is Taurus or Vrishabha, your Chandrashtama would be Sagittarius or Dhanu. For Gemini and Mithun janma rashi, your Chandrashtama would be Capricorn or Makar. For Cancer or Karka, it would be Aquarius or Kumbha. For Leo, Simha, it would be Pisces or Meena. For Virgo, Kanya, it would be Aries or Mesha. Likewise, if your janma rashi is Libra or Tula, your Chandrashtama would be Taurus or Vrishabha. For Scorpio and Vrishchik, it would be Gemini or Mithun. For Sagittarius or Dhanu, your Chandrashtama would be Cancer or Karka. For Capricorn or Makar, it would be Leo or Simha. For Aquarius or Kumbha, it would be Virgo or Kanya. For Pisces or Meena, it would be Libra or Tula. So depending on what your janma rashi is, that is the position of the moon in your natal horoscope or birth chart, you can easily arrive at the Chandrashtama. And you can refer the Vedic Panchanga or the ephemeris or the almanac or the Hindu calendar to look at the specific days when your Chandrashtama would occur. Now that we have understood how to arrive at your Chandrashtama, we need to understand what can go wrong. And mind you, this is going to be a myth buster, because most of the astrologers through social media and other mediums, they try to scare you with this concept of Chandrashtama. They might say that since these days are very dangerous for you in this month and so on and so forth, but it is not like that once you clearly understand what can go wrong during a Chandrashtama. On the screen I have listed the general and the specific things of what can go wrong during a Chandrashtama. What basically happens? What is the eventual effect of a Chandrashtama? As mentioned earlier, it is the position or placement or the transit of your moon in the 8th from your natal moon or your janma rashi. So 8th house represents delays, frustration, irritation, loss of peace of mind, confusion, loss of focus, anger, fear, difficulty in concentration, emotional outburst, etc. due to the placement, due to the transit of the moon. So the combination of the 8th house and the quality of the moon combined together can represent these general things. These could be very simple or trivial, like probably if you're like waiting for a payment from your client, the client might not answer your calls at all during Chandrashtama. It could be such minor things like you could miss your flight or your bus or something important on that particular day, or someone might say something that might hurt your feelings. So these are the generic things that can happen during your Chandrashtama. Now what can be more specific? If your horoscope indicate certain things depending on the yogas or combinations present in your horoscope, depending on the dasha and dasha that is running in your life currently, and the gochar of the other planets. If they represent or indicate these things, then you can also get these results that I mentioned under the specific tab here. That is, you can suffer from psychosomatic illness, you could have mental imbalance, insomnia, amnesia, psychosis, delirium, epilepsy, dropsy, derangement, hyperthyroidism, and even trouble from evil spirits, if that is indicated in your natal horoscope. So these are the specific results that can happen during Chandrashtama. So in that sense, yes, you need to be really careful when there is Chandrashtama every month. That is roughly 2.3 days each month. Now that you have understood what can go wrong during a Chandrashtama, you also need to be prepared to be able to meet with the consequences. So how to make it right? As I've always been telling, even in my last 2 videos, that astrology is a perfect science, or consider an art if you like it. And what use is of astrology which enables you to predict future events if you are unable to kind of modify it or control it. So how to make it right? I've said this even in my earlier video, that remedy done for the sake of remedy does not work. Likewise, when it is about Chandrashtama, there are astrologers who recommend do specific mantra japa, dana, homa, havana, etc. They may not work if they are done specifically for that purpose, or done out of fear-mongering. No, it does not. It's like you need to be prepared well ahead in advance. Otherwise, it's karma. Karma always comes back to you. And the same is true with Chandrashtama. So there's a table in front of you that specifies the do's and don'ts during a Chandrashtama. So I'll just read it out. During a Chandrashtama, it's a very good time to perform self introspection. It's not time to have an external focus. You need to dive deep internal and see what are the weaknesses or lacuna within you. You need to work on that during Chandrashtama. It is basically a time to relax. If you feel too much lethargic or overburdened or stressed, it is the best time to relax. And it's a good time to conduct deep research in any subject. If you are research oriented person, you can undertake back office or shadow activities that is not coming to the forefront anywhere. You can stay behind and work in a relaxed and calm manner. It is also a very good time to perform occult rituals if you are into it, if you are aware of it. And at best, it is good to do routine activities that you do daily. So you need not stop your routine activities just because it's Chandrashtama. And it's a really good time to spend for planning. That is, you need to avoid any kind of execution, but you can always plan very well during a Chandrashtama. And let me cover the don'ts. Do not begin any new work or activity during a Chandrashtama. Do not sign important documents, never. That has to be avoided. And do not take center stage. Like if you have to perform somewhere, or if you have to meet customers or initiate any interviews or meetings, avoid it during a Chandrashtama. And do not be aggressive, because that is what happens during Chandrashtama. When your expectations are not met, you might have an emotional outburst, you might be angry. So you should not be aggressive during Chandrashtama. That has to be avoided at all costs. And do not consume fresh medicine or undergo surgery. This is a specific advice for those who have some kind of illnesses. And you need to defer any kind of important work or execution during a Chandrashtama. It's just 2.3 days. The world is not going to stop if you don't do something important in those 2 or 3 days. So that's the do's and don'ts about Chandrashtama. One thing to be noted here is Chandrashtama can prove to be good for certain professionals like researchers, astrologers, occultists, forensic specialists, investigators, process auditors, spies, etc. And basically what I'm trying to say is anyone who deals with the unknown on a daily basis, for them Chandrashtama is a good time to make certain leaps and in their progress. Except for that, for the rest of the people, they need to follow these do's and don'ts absolutely on Chandrashtamas. That will make your life quite easy. I hope you guys understood this video, the concept of Chandrashtama, what can go wrong and what you can do about it. And I have presented a very unorthodox kind of a view instead of specifying certain remedies that are provided by the astrologers, the so-called popular astrologers, day in and day out, because I believe that karma is at the root of everything, and if you can control and redefine your karma, you don't need any specific remedy as such. That's my strong belief. So subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share, and stay tuned. Ciao.